Yo, 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 what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your daily tarot and astrology reading for Monday, September 16th of 2024. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. Hopefully you guys had a wonderful weekend. Let's go ahead and hop into today's video, see what the cards say, see what the planets are doing, so we can see how you can be better prepared to navigate these wild and insane times, because it certainly feels insane. I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed the moon in Aquarius. I felt like, well, I did my best to emotionally detach when I needed to. So we have the Three of Wands upright. The Three of Wands upright. This definitely does feel like a contemplation kind of day. Definitely feels like a day where we're kind of just looking out at the horizon and wondering, okay, what's next? Bring it on, world. What's next? And, you know, I think this is a very fitting card to get before we have this full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces conjunct Neptune. So today, like I said, it's one of those days where we're going to be kind of looking out to the world and just sort of being like, okay, what's next? What's coming, right? Now, I do have the Two of Swords in reverse, so perhaps the thing that is coming is actually a release of energy, which of course full moons are all about releases, and this is a lunar eclipse, so it definitely cuts something off. So if there's something that's been making you feel stuck or stagnant, especially when it comes to this more Piscean world, this more Piscean energy, there's going to be something that is going to be released here. Now, we may not necessarily see the, I guess the ramifications of this release or the results of this release immediate. It may take some time for it to start to kind of develop and bubble up to the surface, if you will. But there's definitely some type of stalemate that's coming to a close, and that's what we pretty much have to look forward to on this Monday. Now, astrologically, of course, we do have the moon entering into Pisces on this day, right? Of course, before it did so, it did square over to Uranus, but that was like really early in the morning. So I don't really feel the need to really talk too much about that one, unless you were in Europe and you pretty much woke up with that energy, essentially, right? But this moon is going to be in Pisces for the day. It is going to make a trine over to Mars, right? So we'll see that happen when it hits 6 degrees, right? So we'll see. Actually, no, excuse me, 7 degrees. It'll be like right at 7 degrees is when that happens. This is also going to be the day where we see Venus oppose Chiron. And I think it's interesting that the Venus-Chiron opposition happens at the same time that the moon is going to be in trine to Mars. So I think the thing about this, though, is that, Mars in Cancer is trying to... This is like the warrior being back home. Normally they're just more comfortable being on the battlefield or being on top of the mountain in Capricorn. But when it's in Cancer, it's back at home, and it has to be a little bit softer at its approach, and it can't be as hard. It can't be as bombastic, if you will, right? The trine over to this moon, it brings up some nice energy, but I think it's going to be also like having to learn how to be comfortable in these pretty, how do I say this? Auspicious energies. Pisces, it's random energy. It's things that are unexplained, right? It's the hidden zone. It's the 12th house. So it rules over matters of like spirituality and drugs and the mystical and the mythical, right? And it also rules over the media too, right? So it rules over quite a few different things. This is, I think, probably the beginning of some uncomfortable truths coming to the surface, and now people are going to have to figure out how in the world do they respond to this. Now, a moon in Pisces is going to make people want to escape a little bit more. Now, I have moon in Pisces, right? So, and the moon is wherever you're the most comfortable. So, with it in being in Pisces, the way that you seek the comfort or the way that you're reacting or responding is to, kind of the things that you enjoy doing. What are the things that entertain you, like the movies that you watch, the TV shows that you watch, or the books that you read? Wherever you can go to kind of escape reality, in a sense, that's Pisces. So people are going to be, whenever the moon goes into Pisces, people have a tendency to want to escape more into those things, whether, like I said, it's a TV show or a video game or I don't know, maybe you cosplay, or maybe you do tabletop games, or maybe, whatever. It could even be, maybe the way that you escape reality is going into nature, which is kind of oxymoronic, go into nature to escape reality. But it kind of does feel that way. Because, like, the reality that we have created as humans is within these walls and within the digital sphere and the concrete jungles and all that sort of stuff. And the true reality, the nature out there, is almost like an escape from, the day-to-day reality that we have created as humans. So it's about trying to find some level of comfort in that, and to not really be afraid, to have the bravery and the courage to be able to deal with tough truths as they start to come out. Now, Venus and Libra opposing Chiron, this is, like I said, this is one of those things where it's like, if you are not really comfortable in your own skin and who you are, then you may have difficulty with this. Venus in Libra is all about trying to find that balance. It's all about relationships, how we open up and receive the other people in our life. And that Chiron element, that may throw a bit of a twist into things, right? So it's going to be like, people are going to want, especially with all this energy in Virgo, especially with Mercury here, especially with the sun here, people are going to be wanting perfection in, like, their relationships. And, like, the moment that it's just, like, slightly not perfect, or there's something a little bit amiss on a day like today with Venus opposed Chiron, you can take that small little thing and really, really blow it up. It's like, that's why I say, like, in relationships too, and with the moon being in Pisces, people are going to try to escape in very, very weird ways. And with the trining over to Mars too in Cancer, like I said, Mars, you gotta think about it, not only does it rule, like, aggression, not only does it rule, like, I guess in many ways, like, your attitude and the way that you act and stuff, but it does kind of rule a lot of times, like, more animalistic natures, even the more animalistic natures as far as, like, sex goes. So I'm just saying, like, there could be a potential where people are unfaithful, but I really don't want to put that out in the atmosphere. But there's definitely a potential here with Venus opposing Chiron, where if someone's self-esteem isn't really that high, then someone could definitely come in and swoop in and take advantage of that low self-esteem. You don't want that to happen. You also don't want to, like, take arguments within relationships and blow them up and then make a terrible mistake, because that could happen too. You know what I'm saying? So just be wary of that sort of stuff. Like I said, Venus is about how we open up, how we receive. With the opposing Chiron, that's a battle, right? And it's like, yeah, if your self-esteem isn't there, if you don't even know who you are, then someone can really come in and take advantage of that energy. So that's what we pretty much have leading up into this full moon lunar eclipse. I think Monday is going to be kind of an auspicious day. We'll see how the Venus opposed Chiron plays out. But this moon in Pisces, like I said, people are going to be much more focused on, entertaining themselves through various media, whether it's the internet, whether it's the TV shows or the movies, whether it's video games. There's a level of fantasy and escapism that is surrounding this moon in Pisces, especially in this first 10 degrees, right? Because all it does is make the aspect to Mars, and that's pretty much it, right? I mean, it does aspect the nodes, but it doesn't really do a whole lot else. Once it gets to that second decan and it hits, Saturn, and it opposes Mercury, and then we get to that full moon, that's when things are really, really going to pop off. So Monday does kind of feel like the calm before the storm. Not gonna lie, the main challenge, of course, is the Venus in Libra and how you're going to, react and respond and open up to the people in your life, and try not to overly react to, I guess, the Chiron in them. They're maybe the traumas or the woundings or the blemishes. Chiron can rule blemishes, especially here in Aries, blemishes on the face, on the head space, right? So it's like, people, I would say, like, try not to worry about the tiny little blemishes or the details or the pimples in life. We all have, metaphorically and spiritually, like, we all have, like, different pimples and stuff like that. We all have different things in our life that, may not necessarily look perfect. You don't want to overly react and respond to those sort of things. I think that's one of the biggest problems right now, especially when it comes to our elected leaders and officials. We expect these people to be perfect, and they're anything but. You know, it's like I was just thinking about this, how it does kind of seem, at least exteriorly, that nothing from high school changed. You have the popular people that play sports and they make a lot of money, and then you have the other ones that are, you know, still playing class president, except it's on a larger scale. Instead of just within a school, it's with 300 million plus people. You know what I'm saying? Or like your various towns and cities and so forth with like mayors and governors and shit. It doesn't feel like much has changed and stuff since high school. So it's going to be like, you know, how do we navigate these socio-political, you know, atmospheres or just environments, if you will. I don't know why I said atmospheres, but it's definitely an interesting time. I know I'm rambling a little bit, but hopefully this one makes sense for you guys. But I just think, honestly, it's just kind of a weird energy. Not gonna lie. It's right before a lunar eclipse. It's the moon in Pisces. It's Venus opposed Chiron. Chiron's already weird. Like, it's a weird energy. Mars is in its detriment. Uranus is in its fall. You know, we have, you know, that's what it comes down to. We have planets that are not in such hot areas. Jupiter is in its detriment as well. So that's another aspect to this too. So at least Venus is in its home sign. So that's good. But other than that, we're dealing with some heavier energies, and trying to learn how to navigate them can be a little bit challenging. But, you know, you can do it, most certainly. So let me get to that final card for you guys. I do have the Six of Pentacles. I think this just comes down to be careful of who you give your energy to. And be careful of who you open up to energetically as well. Because as this card usually does speak to giving, it also can be about how we receive fortune and how we receive help from others. So just be careful of who you give your energy to, and be careful of who you even receive help from. Because you don't know their intentions. Maybe they're offering help because they're expecting something in return instead of just doing it out of the goodness of their heart. You want to just be, you know, wary of that, essentially. So I also have I have the card of Tantric Journey. The frequency of Tantric Journey helps us to unlock the hidden knowledge and wisdom that we intrinsically hold about how to reach a state of wholeness and completion through our sensual experiences with ourselves and with another. That's definitely talking more about just relationships in general. I think with the Venus opposed Chiron, a good thing about it is about like the level, it's like a vulnerability that comes up. So I think vulnerabilities in relationships can definitely come up today. And it can lead to deeper levels of intimacy if you allow it to. If your ego gets in the way, because Chiron is in Aries, if your ego gets in the way and you get kind of butthurt over these things, then you can't reach that level of intimacy, you know, when it's with a person. And this can also be with yourself too. So there's probably going to be some sort of trigger that comes up today that can actually allow you to grow a deeper bond with yourself and with another person. Doesn't necessarily have to be romantic, but with this card, I feel like it's either yourself or it's in a romantic situation. So, but just know that opportunity can come up today. It's a possibility for it to come up. Like I said, this is a general reading for all signs. So, but just, you know, like I said, be careful who you give your energy to. Be careful of who you open up to. But also, don't have like this knee-jerk reaction if it doesn't appear perfect. And then you want to do the whole moon and Pisces thing and just escape and run away from it. No, just I think this is a day where that's the good thing about the Mars trining it, is that we can confront it head on, even if it's not the most comfortable, but we can confront it head on and actually see it for the beautiful aspect of the beautiful situation or the beautiful person that it really is. That's going to do it for your daily tarot and astrology reading. I trust that this message will assist you on your journey today. And well, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. So y'all take care, stay blessed, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all on the next video. Peace.